Welcome to another episode of Coast to Coast. I'm Devin Caney, joined as always by Teddy Jenner, and we are so honored to be joined by the one, the only Diggs Tape, Mikey Diggs. Thanks so much for coming on.
Of course, thanks for having me. It's great to be here with y'all.
Now, I know you've been really into doing helmet reviews, and we literally just talked about how I'm not going to ask you to review helmets, but you said you could weigh in on why you cannot weigh in on NLL helmets. Can you tell me that?
Sure. I mean, I'm a field lacrosse guy through and through. That's just where I started. I played in Maryland, played in California, played in college in Pennsylvania. So I'm just not super schooled on box lacrosse culture, whether that's swag or uniforms or history or just off the field culture. I'm just much more in tune with field. So with field lacrosse, I have an entire pantheon of helmets I can talk about. But in box, I just don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what I don't know. So I can be oh, theirs is cool. Oh, theirs is boring, but I don't know the nuances. So
yeah. Well, as we said, I mean, NLL helmets they're not anything crazy, but we should give you a look at some of our goalie helmets at some point because some of them are pretty cool. Moving on, we had another exciting week of NLL action. We're going to jump right into our first segment, and this is the first time we're doing this segment. Going to talk about, I don't know if you want to call it swag, vibes, whatever. Maybe it's a player from this past weekend. Maybe it's a player over his entire NLL career or just this season thus far. I'm going to start us off here to set an example. And I'm actually kind of not going to pick a specific player, even though specific players, I guess, amount to the Buffalo Bandits offense. Ashley Dockey, I have to shout her out. And I always say, there's some teams, some groups of guys in the league who are vibeless. And then there are some who have a clear vibe, a clear energy, a clear personality. And in my opinion, the swaggiest of those is the Buffalo Bandits, especially their offense. They've got such talent. When they score, it's always the most beautiful, amazing goal ever. Some people might call it maybe a little bit cocky, overconfident kind of attitude, but it works. I mean, they back it up with their wins. And being up there this past weekend, Banditland always brings the energy. So they are my pick for swaggiest team in the NLL. Teddy, why don't we go to you next?
I've got some honorable mentions real quick. Austin Shanks and his mullet just screams swag. But Billy D's tie this weekend and Cody Jamison's necklace this weekend were some of the swaggiest things I've ever seen in an NLL form. Billy D's was a solid gold tie that caught the light every time the camera panned down the floor, and you knew where he was on the bench because it just shined. And then Jammer had a double eights blinged out necklace that he rocked pregame. Unbelievable. But for me, it's Zach Currier. He had 31 loose balls this weekend, including 2 different scenarios where he D'd up a guy, stripped a guy, got the loose ball, and went down and scored in just graceful fashion. He's got drip, he's got swag, and he plays with so much confidence. It's like Revis Island in the NFL. You do not want to go one-on-one with Zach Currier when you have the ball because bad things are going to happen. He plays with confidence, he plays with flair, and for me, just exudes swag when it comes to the NLL.
I love it. I respect it. Canadian swag. Mikey, let's get yours.
Devin, you took mine. I was going to go with the Buffalo Bandits, but I really wanted to dive into more of the players. I just don't think there's a more fun team to watch. I'm a diehard Seals fan because, I've been a Seals fan since they showed up. So, and living in San Diego, I gotta go for my team. And I'm never going to talk down on them, but I don't think there's a more fun team to root for in maybe all professional lacrosse right now than the Buffalo Bandits. I watch all their highlights because I'm that's just such a fun team when they play at home. Crowd goes nuts. When they score, it's a party. And look at their starting offense, man. It's remember, field lacrosse guys, it's all guys I'm familiar with. Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, Chase Frazier, Connor Fields, Tehoka Nanticoke, my boy Cluche. So all of them. But if I had to pick one player, it's hard between Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, and Chase Frazier. Because Chase Frazier, it's after he scores, it's you don't want to be near him. He's just a cyclone of energy when he scores. And that's what I identify with. So I don't know, but if I had to pick one jersey to buy, I'll just go off that. It's probably Dane Smith. I love that dude's game. He's so casual with the way he swims cats and just throws a crossfield dish or just finishes all silky on the backside. That's my dude. So I want to buy his jersey and then Austin Stops jersey, and then I'll go back to the Bandits and buy a Josh Byrne jersey. Like, that's just my dude right there.
Yeah, no, they're super, super fun to watch. And I also like don't want to leave out their other guys like defensively. And even I would go as far to say that goaltending wise, they're so like Matt Vinks, it's super swaggy. Like he's got style. He's definitely established himself in the league. So like whole team is just super, super fun. I would love to see them go up against the Seals. Maybe we'll get that in the postseason. Who knows?
Hope so.
All right, moving on to our always exciting and fun segment, Burning Take, presented by Warrior. We know how it goes. Give us your spiciest take. It can be about anything. It can be about something specific from this past weekend, specific player, just your hottest take involving the NLL. Teddy, let's go to you.
This is how hot my take is this weekend.
Oh, wow. You brought props.
The Seals will be the only home team to win this weekend.
Oh.
This isn't hot at all. I'm fine with it. But I think all the road teams are favored except for Albany in that San Diego game. But I truly believe that San Diego will be the only home team to win a game this weekend because not only are they on an incredible winning streak, but Albany's coming off 2 tough losses. They got to travel all the way across the country. San Diego's coming off a bye weekend. This is going to be a huge weekend for them to get their 7th win in a row, stay on top of the NLL Western Conference, and continue to prove why Diggs loves them so much. They are the best team in the NLL right now. Shout out the Seals, another big home win.
All right, Mikey, what do you have?
I'm going to go with 2. 1, the Seals are going to win the NLL championship this year, and I'm just putting my flag in the ground right there because if it comes down to us and the Bandits, like I'm not gonna root against Dane Dobie, bro. I'm just not. Like
No.
he came out and scored 7 goals. He scored 7 goals in a game. I can't remember if that game was at home, but I've been to a couple games this year, and just the way the Seals like just grit things out and get wins, like it's like a different Seals team. You know, it's different than the Seals teams of the past. It's that edge, and I think Dane Dobie brings that to this roster. And my second hot take is Calgary. What are y'all doing with y'all uniforms? Please fix y'all's uniforms. Dog,
Thank you.
Those uniforms are so boring. Why did y'all get rid of your only color? You went grayscale? Stop. Go back. Rewind. Reverse. Those are my 2 hot takes.
So my hot take, actually, I was gonna talk about best uniforms, and I'm just gonna piggyback off what you said because I have always said there's not enough red in our league. The Roughnecks were the only team that had red as their primary color. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Teddy, but I'm pretty sure we now have no teams that are red. You can't go wrong with a classic, just red and white. Yeah. I know the Wings have some red in their uniforms, but that's still not their primary color.
Burgundy is kind of a red, yeah.
Why
straight red,
grayscale? No, that ain't it. And I will further my point and say the Halifax Thunderbirds have the best uniforms in the league. I'd say it.
Almost quick sidebar. Rochester just put out their blackout uniforms.
Oh.
They are fire.
I haven't seen them.
It's just that Hawk logo, but it's just meshed into the dark pattern of the jersey. I think Mikey would love them. I think everyone's going to love them. We have a lot of teams that do a good job with those third jerseys, but I think the reason Calgary lost the red was because of their sponsorship with WestJet. That's why the turf changed color. That's why they lost the red out of their jerseys, because WestJet's competitor is Air Canada, and they're red and white. So
yeah,
it was a business decision that's unfortunately turned to be a tough look.
Well, Vegas expansion team, if you're listening to this, maybe choose red. Just don't. Everyone's purple.
Well, they are coming in hot.
They are. They are. All right, so let's look ahead to week 13. We've got 6 games all happening on Saturday. Halifax at Philly. I will be at that game. That's at 7:30. Toronto and New York also at 7:30. Buffalo is heading to Rochester at 8. Vancouver at Panther City at 8:30. And then Colorado at Saskatchewan is our TSN game of the week. And finally, Albany at San Diego, Lacrosse After Dark, again for at least us East Coasters at 10 o'clock at night. Guys, which matchup are you most looking forward to?
Colorado's playing the Rush, right? I think that's going to be a really good game. I think those 2 teams match up fairly well. Colorado's been really good this season. Zed Williams has been super fun to watch. Ryan Lee's been balling out, and I'm just an offensive guy, so that's just what I'm drawn to. That's just what I watch. I think that matchup's going to be really fun to watch. I'll be tuning into that, and then obviously the Seals. I feel like we're going to be just fine against Albany, so going to go off there. But I would say, other than the Seals game, Colorado versus the Rush, definitely.
All right.
That's the game I'm going to take, Devin. More specifically for the fact that something that I've been calling to happen for the last 3 or 4 years, it's the end of the Rush dynasty. We're starting to see it crumble in front of us. They're now 2-6. If they lose this game to Colorado, they're now 2-7. They're further out of a playoff spot. And we could be seeing maybe the last home game in a Rush uniform for guys like Ryan Dose, Chris Corpio, Kyle Rubish. Are those guys on the block? Does Derek Keenan, who was on the bench this past weekend in Colorado for Saskatchewan, will we start to see him make moves? I think if this game goes the way of the Mammoth, the Rush dynasty is officially over, and we'll start to see some bodies move.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've always called Derek Keenan the Rush, like the Patriots, and he's the Bill Belichick of the league, where he's always making these mastermind moves, and we haven't really seen too much of that from him. So,
well, I think the thing with that is because of how bad the West has been at the bottom, they still have some room to kind of climb up. Like, they have 3 games before the trade deadline. If they can win those 3 games, they're back to 5-6. There could be in a playoff spot in the West. So there's not fully dagger in the heart, but it's getting to that point. So I think that's why he hasn't panicked and started to move guys. But with every loss and every passing week, that window to move guys kind of becomes smaller and smaller. And you want to get as much value out of those guys as you can in case you lose them in free agency.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be curious to see, but just have to remind you, my burning take, one of my first burning takes of the season, the Rush aren't going to make the playoffs, and here we are.
No stress,
love
Evan.
being right sometimes. All right, guys, that does it for this episode of Coast to Coast. Mikey Diggs, thank you so much again for joining us. We're going to get you those goalie helmets for you to review on your Twitter eventually. And yeah, look forward to another exciting week of NLL action.